everyone. We generally cannot stay in our home throughout our life, right? We keep traveling from home to different places or from one place to another place, maybe to our school, maybe to our office or anywhere, right? We go to our malls, theaters or shops, to a doctor or different places. So to go to any place from one place, the first thing we understand is the distance from our source to our destination or from our starting point to our end point. Similarly, we also understand the directions to go to that place so that we can reach on time and without any hassles or confusions. Right? If you don't have the sound knowledge of directions and distance, you may reach a wrong place, or there is also a possibility you take longer time to reach the same place. So that is why knowledge of these things are very essential to have a smooth life, and that is why these concepts are included in our examinations also to check your common sense. Okay, now these questions will be asked in your SSC CGL or in your bank exams, sometimes in your high studies entrance and placement exams also. Most of the times only one question from this topic will be asked. Sometimes there is a possibility that they ask two questions also. In your SSC CGL exams, these topics will be included under space operation. Okay. Now, what should we know in order to solve these problems? As the name says, we should know the concept of directions and we should know the measurement of distance. Okay. First, let us look about directions. Now, how many directions are there? There are 4 main directions and 4 sub-directions. The 4 main directions are north, south, east and west, and the 4 sub-directions are northeast, southeast, southwest and northwest. So between each adjacent main direction there is 90 degree of distance, and between each adjacent main and subdirection there is 45 degree of angular measurement. Remember this, it will help you in solving the problems. I'll tell you how. Suppose a person starts from a point A, travels right for 2 kilometers, then from there a person takes a left of 90 degree, then travels to 1 kilometer, and from here a person is again taking the right turn to 90 degree and moves to 2 kilometers. These are the kinds of problems, and the questions will be something like in which direction the person is facing now, or to which direction the person is facing now. Here a person starts from a point and from here he travels to right, and from right takes a 90 degree to left. Here it means that the person is facing to north side, correct? The person is facing to north side. Similarly, again from here the person takes a 90 degree to right. 90 degree to right means that the person is facing east, right? Suppose the question was a person starts from the point A, travels 2 kilometers to the right, then takes a right turn of 45 degree. In this case, to which direction the person is traveling now or to facing now? The person is facing towards southwest, right? So angular measurements between the directions will help us in solving the problems as well. Now, always while solving the problem, to understand this north, east and all that, the easiest thing what you can do is you can draw the directions first, north, south, east and west, and then you can start solving the problems. Now, we can write north and south easily. There is no confusion, but sometimes there is a possibility that some people get confused whether to write east here or west here, right? So to those people, the simple trick is clockwise movement is east, anti-clockwise movement is west. Okay, so remember NESW clockwise is the order of directions. Okay. Now, I told you a person starts from here, takes a left turn of 90 degree, then takes a right turn of 90 degree. So, we should also have sound knowledge of left and right turns, right? Now, here, the person is standing here. From here, he is supposed to take a left turn. See, because you're facing this side and the person is facing this side, sometimes we may get confused which is left and which is right with respect to this person, right? So what we can do is, we can remember if a person is moving clockwise, that means it is the right side, and if the person is moving anti-clockwise, that means it is the left side. Remember, right turn is clockwise, left turn is anti-clockwise. Okay, this will help you while solving the problems. Okay, next we should know the distance. I told you measurement of distances. Distances will be measured in kilometers, meters, miles and all that. But because this is a logical reasoning concept, they will not ask you complicated mathematical problems like conversion and all that. Major problems or major type of questions will be finding out the total distance, or second type will be finding out the shortest distance. Okay, measurement of total distance from one point to the other point is generally easy. You calculate or you add this distance to this distance 1 and this distance 2 kilometers and understand that the total distance towards this 5 kilometers. Sometimes there will be questions based on multiplication operation also. But in order to measure the shortest distance, you will have to apply Pythagorean theorem. Okay, I will explain how this works. Suppose a person starts from point A, moves 2 kilometers to the left, then from here he takes a right turn and moves 2 kilometers. He takes a right turn and moves 2 kilometers. From here again left turn 3 kilometers, left turn 3 kilometers, and from here right turn 3 kilometers. Now suppose the person is on point S, and if the question is what is the shortest distance between point A and point S, you will have to find this length A to S. You cannot say 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 is the shortest distance. This is one of the longest distances between A and S. So in order to find the shortest distance, always you should find a straight line distance from the point A and the point S. Okay. Now how will you find out this? We can find out this by application of Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem says this is called a hypotenuse in a triangle. This is called a base and this is called as a perpendicular line. So the Pythagorean theorem says square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the perpendicular and the base length. Okay, square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the perpendicular and the base length. So remember this length is equal to this length square, this length square. Correct? Square of this length is equal to this length square plus this length square. So you find out the point till here, that is x1, using this and this. Similarly, you find out this point, suppose I say x2, using this and this, and you add them in order to find the shortest distance. Is it clear now? So these are the things you should know. Now, what are the kinds of problems or what are the types of problems that will be asked? First type of problem that will be asked is to find out the directions. Suppose a person starts from point A, moves right, then takes a right turn again, moves left, moves right. From here again a left turn. Now he is moving towards left now. Now the question may be to which direction the person is facing. You will have to understand from here to right is to south. Here this side is to east. then to south, from south again this is towards west and this is towards south. So the person is facing to south. Now these type of questions will be asked. Or here the person has traveled to 3 kilometers here. Now from here to here it is 2 kilometers. From here to here again 2 kilometers. And from here 2 kilometers. What is the total distance traversed by the person? The total distance traversed by a person is 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. That is 3 plus 6, that is 9 kilometers. Okay. Or sometimes, as I told, there may be a question on shortest distance also. If shortest distance is asked, you will have to draw a line from here to here and you will have to form a triangle like this. Okay, and you will have to find this value which you can find easily based on these distances given, and you have to find the hypotenuse. That is distance problem. So sometimes they combine this into one problem and they will ask you to find the distance as well as the direction in which the person is now in same problem itself. Let us start problems. Okay. Now, first let us solve some simple problems, then let us go to the complicated ones, okay? First, look at the first question. Meera starts at a point T, walks straight to point U, which is 4 feet away. She turns left at 90 degree and walks to W, which is 4 feet away, turns 90 degree right, then goes 3 feet to P, turns 90 degree right, and walks 1 feet to Q, turns left at 90 degree and goes to V, which is 1 feet away, and once again turns 90 degree right and goes to O, 3 feet away. And the question is, what is the distance between T and O? What is the distance between T and O? Okay. Now, here, Meera starts at a point T, walks straight up to U, which is 4 feet away. Which means they have just told Meera is walking straight from A to T to U, but they have not mentioned in which direction Meera is walking. So, we can take any direction straight from T to U. Okay. So, let us consider this. Meera starts from the point T, walks up to U, which is 4 feet away. Okay, 4 feet away. Next, she then turns left at 90 degree and walks to W, which is 4 feet away. Now, which is Meera's left? Meera's left is the anti-clockwise movement. So, it is this. So, she turns left at 90 degree and walks to W, which is 4 feet away. Okay. So, 4 feet to point W. Okay. Now, turns 90 degree right. Here she has turned 90 degree left. Okay. Turns 90 degree right, goes 3 feet to P. Turns 90 degree right, goes 3 feet to P. Next, turns 90 degree right and walks 1 feet to Q. Turns 90 degree right and walks 1 feet to Q, turns 90 degree at left, goes to V, which is 1 feet left. Left of this person is again anti-clockwise movement. Anti-clockwise is this way. So, turns 90 degree left and goes to V, which is again 1 feet away. This is point V. Okay, 1 feet. Next, and once again turns 90 degree right and goes to O. So, right of this is clockwise. So, turn 90 degree right to O, goes 3 feet away. So, 3 feet away. Okay, this is 3 feet to point O. Now, question is distance between T and O. Now, see, look at this. This is 4 feet. Here, this is 1 feet and 3 feet. It means that points T, U and O all are in one straight line. So, all these are in straight line. So, the shortest distance or the minimum distance between T and O is a straight line. So because it is already a straight line, here we don't need to apply Pythagorean theorem. We can directly add all the distances and find out the distance between T and O. Now look at this. The total distance is distance to T to U, that is 4 feet, plus distance from W to P, that is 3 feet, plus distance from Q to V. Correct? So this distance, which is 1 feet. Now total distance is 4 plus 1, 3 plus 1, which is 8 feet. Okay, so 8 feet is the answer. Look at the option. Option A is 4 feet, which is wrong. Option B is 5 feet, which is again wrong. C is 7 feet, wrong. Option D is 8 feet. Option D is the correct answer. So the correct answer is option D. Alright, now let's go to the next question. Rahim travelled straight from point E to F at a distance of 5 km. Rahim travelled straight from point E to F at a distance of 5 km. From F, he turned left and travelled 6 km and reached point G. He took a left turn and travelled 5 km to reach point H. He took another left turn and travelled 10 km and reached point I. The question is, how far is he from the starting point? Okay. Now, Rahim travelled straight from point E to F at a distance 5 km. Again in this question, they have just mentioned straight from E to F at a distance 5 km. They have not mentioned the direction. So what you can do? You can again take any direction which you want. Okay, let me consider this. Rahim travelled from point E to point F at a distance of 5 km. Next, from F, he turned left and travelled 6 km and reached point T. So F's left is the anti-clockwise movement. So anti-clockwise movement is this. So F is turning left and travelling 6 km. Okay. F turns left, travels 6 km and reaches point G. Next, there he took a left turn. So again, this person's left, which is this side, and travelled 5 km to reach point H. There he took a left turn and travelled 5 km to reach point H. Okay. Now, he took another left turn and travelled 10 km and reached point I. He took another left turn and travelled 10 km. Okay, this was point E. He took another left turn, travelled 10 km. So till here to reach point I. Now, how far is he from the starting point? So this total distance is H to I is 10 km. Okay. How far is he from the starting point? Starting point was point E and now he is in I. We have to find out this distance. Okay. Now look at this. Total is 10, but from here to here it is 6 kilometers. Correct? Here to here it is 6 kilometers. So now I will bring in 6 km here. We don't know this value, so let us take it as x. So this x is what we have to find out. The value of x is total distance, which is 10 km minus the distance from H to E, which is 6 km. Total distance is 10 minus 6 km, which is 4 km. So the answer is 4 km. Look for the options now. 3 km wrong, 4 right answer, 5 wrong, 7 wrong. So the correct answer is option B. Option B is the correct answer. Okay. Now let's go to the next question. There are 6 checkposts A, B, C, D, E and F. check post F is 15 km to the north of D, which is 25 km to the northeast of B. Check post A is 5 km west of E and 15 km to the southwest of C. Check post B, A and E are in a straight line. The check posts B and E are 30 km apart from each other. Now, if a jeep moves from E to F via A, B and D, how much distance will it have to cover? Okay. Now, see here in this question, we see a lot of directions mentioned, correct? So, before going for the solution, let us draw all the directions once, okay? That will make us easy for us to solve the problem, okay? Now, this is north, this is east, this is south, this is west. So, this is northeast, southeast, southwest and northwest. Now, let us go for the solution. There are 6 check posts A, B, C, D, E and F. Check post F is 15 km to the north of D. So, north is where? North is upward. So, check post F is 15 km to the north of check post D. Next, D, which is 25 km to the northeast of B. So, which is northeast? Northeast is this way. So, D is to the northeast of D for 25 km. Okay. So, this is 25 km. Next, northeast of B. So, B is here. Next, check post A is 5 km to the west of E and 15 km to the southwest of C. I will leave it like this now. Next one, check posts B, A, E are in a straight line. So, we have already drawn. So, B, A, E will all be in the straight line. Now, check posts B and E are 30 kilometers apart from each other. So, check post B and check post E are 30 kilometers apart from each other. Okay. Now, this is 30 kilometers. Now, let us go back to this. Check post A is 5 km to the west of E. So, west of E is this side. So, check post A is 5 km to the west of E. So, A is here. Okay. Now, and southwest of C. Which is southwest? Southwest is this. So, it is 15 km to the southwest of C. So, check post C can be considered this way. Check post C is here 15 km. Okay. Now, look at the question. If a jeep moves from E to F via A, B and D, how much distance will it have to cover? Check post jeep start from here and it will end at here. It will start with via A, B and D. So, it will go from here A, then to B, then D and from there it reaches point F. Okay. Now, what is the total distance it covers? Now, total distance is E to A plus A to B plus B to D plus D to F, right? So, the total distance will be E to A, that is 5 km plus A to B, that is 25 km, correct? Because total is 30 and 5 is gone. So, 25 km is from B to A. So, 25. Next, B to D. B to D is again 25 kilometers plus D to F. D to F is 15 kilometers. So, the answer is 25 plus 5 is 30. 30 plus 25 is 55. 55 plus 15 is 55 plus 5 60 plus 10 70. So, the total distance is 70 kilometers. Is it there in the answer? Yes, it is there in option A. So, the right answer is option A, 70 kilometers. Okay. Now, let's go to the next question. See, this question is based on direction now, okay? Janaki started from her house and walked 2 kilometers towards north. Then she took a right turn and covered 1 kilometer. Then she took again a right turn and walked for 2 kilometers. In which direction or in what direction is she going? Is the question. Now, Janaki started from her house and walked 2 kilometers to the north. Because directions are here, let us first draw all the directions, okay? North, east, south, west. North, east, southeast, southwest, northwest. Now, she started from her house and walked 2 kilometers towards north. North means she moved up. So if right here, Janaki started here and she walked 2 kilometers to north. She is moving this way. Now, then she took a right turn and covered 1 kilometer. So right of Janaki is clockwise. So this way. So she covers 1 kilometer. Okay. Next, she then again took a right turn and walked for 2 kilometers. She again took a right turn and walked for 2 kilometers. Correct? Now, in what direction is she going? Janaki is facing this way and this is south. So, Janaki is going towards south. So, the correct answer is south. Options: north is wrong, east is wrong, south is the right answer, west is wrong. So, the correct answer is option C. Alright, now let's go to the next question. Kamu walks 5 kilometers straight from her house towards the west, then turns right and walks 3 kilometers. Thereafter, she takes a left turn and walks 2 kilometers. Further, she turns left and walks 3 kilometers. Finally, she turns right and walks 3 kilometers. In what direction is she now from her house is the question. Okay. Now, first thing what we have to do? We have to draw the directions. Okay. Let us draw all the directions. North, northeast, east, southeast, south, southwest, west, northwest. Now, Kamu walks 5 kilometers straight from her house towards the west. So, towards west is towards this side. So, 5 kilometers towards west. 5 kilometers towards west. Okay. 5 kilometers. Now, this is her starting point. Then she turns right and walks 3 kilometers. Right is the clockwise movement. So, this way she turns right and walks 3 kilometers. Okay. 3 kilometers. Now, thereafter she takes a left turn and walks 2 kilometers. Thereafter she takes a left turn as anti-clockwise and walks 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers. Now further, she turns left and walks 3 kilometers. Again, she is facing this side now. Her left is this side and walks 3 kilometers. She is walking 3 kilometers. Now, finally, she turns right and walks 3 kilometers. She is turning right now. Her right is the clockwise direction and she is walking 3 kilometers. Now the question is, in what direction is she from her house? So her house is here. From her house, she is to this side from her house. She is moving this way. So this is the west of her house. So from her house, she is to west. Where is west? West is here. Option A. So B, C, D are wrong. She is to the west of her house. Option A is the right answer. Let's go to the next question now. The next question. Amit travelled 15 kilometers eastward, then turned left and travelled 5 kilometers, then turned left and travelled 15 kilometers. How far was Amit from the starting point? Okay. Now, Amit travelled 15 kilometer eastward, which means there are directions here. First, let us draw all the directions. Okay. North, east, northeast, southeast, south, southwest, west, northwest. Okay. Now, Amit travelled 15 kilometers eastward. So, which is east? East is this way. So, he travels 15 kilometers to east. Amit starts from here and travels 15 kilometers this way. Next, he then turned left and travelled 5 kilometers. So, left of Amit is anti-clockwise. He turned left and travelled 5 kilometers. Okay, 5 kilometers. Next, he turned left. Then turned left and travelled 15 kilometers. So, he again turned left and travelled 15 kilometers. Now, how far was Amit from the starting point? Correct? So, this ending point is this, starting point is this. Now, we can observe that this direction and this direction are the same. So, starting point and ending point are in one straight line. Correct? So, when they are in one straight line and this are same, this line is in parallel with this line. So, when these two are parallel, the distance, this distance and this distance will be the same. So, the end point and starting point is 5 kilometer apart, because this value is 5 kilometers. Now, look at the options. 30 kilometer wrong, 35 wrong, 15 wrong, 5 kilometer. Option D is the right answer. Okay. Now, go to the next question. At 12:30, the hour hand of a clock faced north and the minute hand faced south. Hour hand of a clock faced north and the minute hand faced south. At 2:45, the minute hand will be in which direction is the question. Now, this question is based on clocks. Okay, the clocks, for a clock generally will be round. So, let us take it this way: 12, 3, 6 and 9, and let this be the mid hand. Now, at 12:30, the hour hand faced north. Hour hand faced north and the minute hand faced south. The minute hand faced south. Now, at 2:45, the minute hand will be in which direction is the question. The question is only on the minute hand. Okay. Now, look at this. At 2:45, our hand will be approximately somewhere here and the minute hand will be pointing to 9. Correct? Minute hand will be pointing this way. Look at the directions: north, south, east and west. So, which is this direction? Based on this, west is this direction. So, minute hand will be pointing towards west. Right? Look for the options. Northwest wrong, west right, southeast and east are wrong. So, the correct answer is west. Option B. Alright. Now, let's go to the next question. Mamata walks 14 meters towards west, then turns to her right and walks 14 meters, then turns to her left and walks 10 meters. Again, turning to her left, she walks 14 meters. What is the shortest distance in meters between her starting point and her present position? Okay. Now, Mamata walks 14 meters towards west. This has directions. So, first let us draw the directions. Okay. 4 directions would be enough. North, east, south and west. Now, Mamata walks 14 meters towards west. 14 meters towards west. West is this way. So, she walks. Mamata starts from this point. She walks 14 meters towards west. Then turns to her right and walks 14 meters She turns to her right. Okay, right is the clockwise movement. So she turns her right and walks 14 meters. Now, and then turns to her left and walks 10 meters. So left of Mamata will be anti-clockwise, which is this side. She walks 10 meters. Now, again turning to her left, she walks 14 meters. Again turning to her left, Mamata's left is this way. She walks 14 meters. Okay, 14 meters. Now, what is the shortest distance between her starting point and her present position? Now, Mamata is here, correct? So, she is towards this direction from her home, correct? Because she has traversed this and this. Now, when she is in this direction, so the shortest distance is already a straight line, because this is 14 and this is also 14. So this point, the end point and starting point are in a straight line. So to find the distance, we have to calculate this value, and we know that this is 14 meters. Okay. Now what is this value? Because this and this are same, this and this will be same. 10 meters is this value. So this value is also 10 meters. So when this is 10 and this is 14, the shortest distance from Mamata's home to the end point is 10 plus 14, which is equal to 24, and the distance in meters is what we have got. Okay, 24 meters. So the right answer is 24 meters, which is option C. A, B, D are wrong. Option C is the right answer. Alright, now let's go to the next question. Arnab starts from a point, walks 2 kilometers to north, turns towards his right and walks 2 kilometers, turns right again and walks. What is the direction now he is facing? Okay, now first let us draw the directions. North, south, east and west. Arnab starts from a point, walks 2 kilometers towards north. So north is up. Okay. So Arnab walks 2 kilometers from this point. I will take this as point A. Okay. Next, turns towards his right and walks 2 kilometers. His right is clockwise this way. So he again walks 2 kilometers. Now, turns right again from here. He turns right the clockwise way and walks. He is walking this way now. Okay. Now the question is, what is the direction now he is facing? Correct. Arnab started from this point, came here, took a right turn and came here. Now he is walking this way, which means Arnab is facing to south. Arnab is facing to south. So the answer is south, option A. Option A is the right answer. Okay. Now let us go to the next question. Sandhya walks straight from point A to B, which is 2 kilometers away. She turns left at 90 degrees and walks 8 kilometers to C, where she turns left again and walks to 90 degrees and walks 5 kilometers to D. At D, she turns left at 90 degrees and walks 8 kilometers to E. The question is, how far is she from A to E? Okay. Now, Sandhya walks straight from point A to B, which is 2 kilometers away. Again, here direction is not mentioned. We can take any one. Let me take it this way. Point A to point B, which is 2 kilometers. She turns left at 90 degrees. She turns left at 90 degrees and walks 8 kilometers to C. She turns left at 90 degrees and walks 8 kilometers to C. Next, where she turns left and 90 degree and walks 5 kilometer to D. So she turns left at 90 degree and walks 5 kilometer. Okay, 5 kilometer to point D. Now at D she turns left at 90 degree. At D she turns left at 90 degree and walks 8 kilometer to point E. So now how far is she from A to B? Okay, we have to find out this measurement. Now look at this, 8 kilometer and this is also 8 kilometer. These are equal and straight lines. So this and this total distance, that is B to E, should be D to C and B to E should be equal. Okay. Now this is 5 kilometer and this is 2 kilometer. So the total distance will be 5 kilometer minus 2 kilometer from E to A. So E to A equal to 5 kilometer minus 2 kilometer. Correct? Now 5 minus 2 is 3. The answer is 3 kilometers. Is it there in options? 2 is wrong, 5 is wrong, 8 is wrong. Answer is 3 kilometers. 3 kilometers is option B. Alright? Easy? Now let's move to the next question. Moving on to the next question. Suresh starts from a point, walks 2 miles towards south, turns right and walks 1.5 miles, turns left and walks half miles and then he turns back. What is the direction he is facing now? Okay. Now first let us draw the directions: north, east, south and west. Now Suresh starts from a point and walks 2 miles towards south. Suresh walks 2 miles. Let me take miles as M now, towards south. Okay. From there, he turns right and walks 1.5 miles. He is walking towards south. From there, he turns right clockwise and walks 1.5 miles. Okay. Let me take turns right and walks 1.5 miles. Next. And turns left and walks half miles. He turns to his left, which is anti-clockwise, and walks half miles. And then he turns back. From there, he is turning back. Okay. Now, what is the direction he is facing now? Suresh was in this direction. Now he turned back to this direction and he is pointing this way, which means Suresh is pointing to north now. So the right answer is north, that is option D. Okay. So Suresh is pointing to north now. Option D is the right answer. Right. Now A, B, C are wrong. Now let's go to the next question. Ashok wants to book a ticket to Madurai. He starts and covers 5 kilometers to reach the booking office, which is in the east of his house. From there, he turns to the north towards a market by traveling 3 kilometers. From there, he turns to left to his friend Sandeep's house, which is 5 kilometers away. Now, he has to get back to his house. How many kilometers he has to cover to reach his house is the question. Now, north, east, south and west. Ashok wants to book a ticket to Madurai. He starts and covers 5 kilometers to reach the booking office, which is in the east of his house. So Ashok's house is this, let us consider, and he starts and walks 5 kilometers to the east. Okay, 5 kilometers to the east to reach the booking office. Next, from there he turns to north towards the market by traveling 3 kilometers. From booking office he turns to north towards the market by traveling 3 kilometers. Next, From there, he turns to left to his friend Sandeep's house, which is 5 kilometers away. So he turns to left to his friend Sandeep's house, which is 5 kilometers away. Okay. Now he has to get back to his house. He has to get back to his house, which is this point. How many kilometers he has to cover to reach his house? So we have to find out this distance. Okay. Now remember one thing, unless and until while taking a turns to right and left, if they have mentioned the angle, it is 90 degree. Only if they have mentioned a different angle, you have to take it. Okay. Now this point and this point both are 5 kilometers and are parallel, and this is 3 kilometers. It means that this distance and this distance are one and the same. So the distance from Sandeep's house to Ashok's house is equal to the distance from the booking office to the market. The distance from booking office to the market is 3 kilometers. So the distance from Sandeep's house to Ashok's house is 3 kilometers, which means Ashok has to travel 3 kilometers. Look at the option. 8 kilometers is wrong. 3 kilometers is the right answer. 5 kilometers is wrong. 6 kilometers is wrong. So the right answer is option B, that is 3 kilometers. Okay. Now let us go to the next question. A man starts from a point, walks 4 miles towards north, turns left and walks 6 miles, turns right and walks for 3 miles, and again turns right and walks 4 miles and takes rest for 30 minutes. He gets up and walks straight 2 miles in the same direction and turns right and walks 1 mile. What is the direction he is facing? Okay. Now, a man starts from a point, walks 4 miles towards north. Okay. A man walks 4 miles towards north. Let me take mile as M. Okay. The man's starting point is this. Now, from there, he turns left and walks 6 miles. From there, he turns left and walks 6 miles. To his left, he walks 6 miles. Okay. And turns right and walks for 3 miles. From here, he turns right and walks for 3 miles. Okay. 3 miles. Next. And again, turns right and walks for 4 miles. Again, he turns right and walks for 4 miles and takes a rest for 30 minutes. He is halting here for 30 minutes. Now, he gets up and walks straight 2 miles in the same direction. That means he was moving here now. He moves the same direction 2 miles. Okay. Now, and turns right and walks 1 mile. Here he turns right now, turns to his right, which is clockwise, and walks 1 mile. Okay. Now what is the question? What is the direction he is facing? Now he is facing this way. He is facing this way, which means he is facing towards south. The man is facing towards south. Where is south? Not this, 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 this. So the man is facing towards south. Option B is the right answer. Okay. Now, let us move on to the next question. A man starts from his office and goes 5 kilometers east. A man starts from his office and goes 5 kilometers east. Then, he turns to the left and again walks for 3 kilometers. Again, he turns left and walks 5 kilometers. Now, at what distance is he from the starting point? Okay. Now, first, north, east, south, west. Okay. Now, starts from his office and goes 5 kilometers east. A man starts from his office and goes 5 kilometers east. So, 5 kilometers to east is this way. Okay. 5 kilometers. Next. Then he turns to the left and again walks for 3 kilometers. The man's left is anti-clockwise, so he turns this way and walks for 3 kilometers. Again, he turns left and walks 5 kilometers. He again turns left and walks 5 kilometers. Okay, he turns left, that is anti-clockwise, and he is walking 5 kilometers. Now, at what distance is he from his starting point? The man started here, moved here and this way. Now, these two are straight and this is also straight. So, this value is equal to the distance which we have to find. The man is this much distance from his end point to the starting point. Now, these both are equal as I have already told. So, the man is 3 kilometers away from his starting point. Where is 3 kilometers? 3 kilometers is in option A. So, option A is the right answer. Okay, that is 3 kilometers. Next, now let us move on to the next question. Siddharth and Murali go for jogging from the same point. Siddharth goes towards the east, covering 4 kilometers. Murali proceeds towards west for 3 kilometers. Siddharth turns left and covers 4 kilometers. Murali turns right to cover 4 kilometers. Now, what will be the distance between Siddharth and Murali? Now, Siddharth and Murali go for the jogging from the same point. Suppose they start from this point. Okay. Siddharth goes towards the east. Siddharth goes towards the east covering 4 kilometers. Okay, 4 kilometers. This is Siddharth. Okay. Now, Murali proceeds towards the west for 3 kilometers. Murali proceeds towards the west for 3 kilometers. Next, Siddharth turns left and covers 4 kilometers. Siddharth turns left and covers 4 kilometers. Siddharth is facing this side. He turns left, that is anti-clockwise. So, Siddharth covers 4 kilometers here. Okay. Now, 4 kilometers. Next, Murali turns to the right and covers 4 kilometers. Murali is facing this side. His right is the clockwise direction. So, he turns right and covers 4 kilometers. Okay. Now, what will be the distance between Siddharth and Murali? What will be the distance between Siddharth and Murali? Siddharth is here, Murali is here. We have to find out the distance between them, which is this. Okay. Now, it is a straight line because Siddharth is also traveling 4 kilometers here and Murali is also traveling 4 kilometers. So, what we have to do is we have to add this, find out the total distance here because these two are parallel to each other. Now, this total distance is 3 kilometer plus 4 kilometer, correct? 3 plus 4. So, the total this distance which is equal to the distance between Siddharth and Murali is 7 kilometers. Siddharth and Murali are 7 kilometers away from each other. 14 is wrong, 6 is wrong, 8 is wrong, 7 kilometers is the right answer. Option D is the correct one. Next, now let us move on to the next question. Let's move on to the next question. A starts from a point and walks 5 kilometers north, then turns left and walks 3 kilometers. Then again turns left and walks 5 kilometers. Point out the direction in which she is going now. Now, A starts from a point and walks 5 kilometers north. Okay, north, east, south and west. A is walking 5 kilometers to north. Okay, from the starting point 5 kilometers. Next, then turns left. Then turns left and walks 3 kilometers. Pointing here, left is anti-clockwise. So, walks 3 kilometers this way. 3 kilometers. Then again turns left and walks 5 kilometers. So, pointing this way, turns left is anti-clockwise and walks 5 kilometers. Point out the direction in which she is going now. Now, she is moving this way. A is moving this way. So A is moving towards the south. Is there south in the option? Option A is wrong. B is right. E is wrong. C is wrong. D is right. So option B, south, is the right answer. Next, question number 17. A rat runs 20 feet towards the east and turns to right and runs 10 feet. And turns to right, runs 9 feet, and again turns to left and runs 5 feet. And then turns to left and runs 12 feet, and finally runs to left and runs 6 feet. Now, what is the direction, or what direction is the rat facing? First, let us draw the directions: north, east, south and west. A rat runs 20 feet towards east, 20 feet towards east. Suppose consider rat is here now. The rat is running 20 feet towards east, 20 feet. Next, turns right and runs 10 feet. Rat's right is the clockwise movement. So rat is running 10 feet here, 10 feet. Next, turns to right, runs 9 feet. Rat is here. Rat's right is this way, the clockwise way, and runs 9 feet. And again turns to left and runs 5 feet. Turns to left. So rat's left is anti-clockwise and runs 5 feet. And then turns to left and runs 12 feet. Now rat is facing this way. Rat's left now is the anti-clockwise direction, which is this way, and runs 12 feet. 9 and 3, 12 feet. And finally runs to left, and left runs 6 feet. So rat is this way, its left is anti-clockwise, and rat is running 6 feet. Okay, now what direction is the rat facing? Rat is moving this way. So rat is moving towards north, correct? So rat is facing towards north, right? Where is north? North is in option B. A, C, D are wrong. Option B is the right answer. That is north, correct? Now let us go to the next question. A man walks 6 kilometers to the north, then turns towards his left and walks for 4 kilometers. He again turns left and walks for 6 kilometers. At this point, he turns to his right and walks for 6 kilometers. Now, the question is, how many kilometers and in what direction is he from the starting point? So here we need to find out both distance as well as the directions. Okay. Now, first draw north, south, east and west. Now, a man walks 6 kilometers towards the north. Man walks, let us say the man is here. He walks 6 kilometers to the north and then turns towards his left and walks for 4 kilometers. The man turns towards his left anti-clockwise and walks for 4 kilometers. Again turns left and walks for 6 kilometers. Again turns left anti-clockwise and walks for 6 kilometers. At this point, he turns to his right and walks for 6 kilometers. Clockwise, he turns to his right and walks for 6 kilometers. Now, how many kilometers and in what direction is he from the starting point? Now, the man is here, okay, and the starting point of the man is this one. We have to find out the total distance from here to here, the total minimum distance from here to here and the direction. We understand that from this point is in west. Because it is a straight line. Reason why is it a straight line is this is 6 kilometers, this is also 6 kilometers. So these two are in one straight line. So the person is in west. Now we have to calculate the total distance. Total distance is 6 kilometers here we know, and remaining is this, which is 4 kilometers. So total distance is 6 kilometers plus 4 kilometers, 6 kilometers plus 4 kilometers here, which is equal to 10 kilometers. So the man is 10 kilometers and west from his starting point. Now 10 kilometer and west. Option A it is there. Option B it is 6 kilometer and south, which is wrong. Option C is 4 kilometer and south, wrong. Option D is 8 kilometer and west, wrong. 10 kilometer and west is the right answer, which is option A. Okay. Now let us go to the next question. Rama travels a distance of 5 km from a point A towards north, turns left and walks 3 km, again turns right and walks 2 km, finally turns right and walks 3 km to reach the place B. What is the distance between A and B? What is the distance between A and B? Now, Rama travels a distance of 5 km from a point A towards north. From a point A, Rama travels 5 kilometers towards north, turns left, walks 3 kilometers, turns left, walks 3 kilometers, again turns right and walks 2 kilometers, again turns right clockwise and walks 2 kilometers, finally turns right and walks 3 kilometers, finally turns to his right and walks 3 kilometers. Okay. To reach place B. To reach place B, started from place A. Now, what is the distance between A and B? What is the distance between A and B? Now, here also we understand that A and B are in one straight line, because here it is 3 km and again here it is 3 km. So this line and this line are one straight line. So we by default can add this distance and this distance to find the distance between A and B. What is this distance? This distance is similar to this distance, which is 2 kilometers. So this is 2, this is 5. So total distance is 5 plus 2, which is equal to 7 kilometers. Total distance is 7 kilometers. Where is 7 kilometers? 7 kilometers is in option A. Option A, 7 kilometers is the right answer. Option B, C, D are wrong. Now let us go to the next question. Rohan walks a distance of 3 kilometers towards north, then turns to his left and walks for 2 kilometers. He again turns left and walks for 3 kilometers. At this point, he turns to his left and walks for 3 kilometers. How many kilometers is he from the starting point is the question. Okay. Now, Rohan walks a distance of 3 kilometers towards north, south, east and west. 3 kilometers towards north. Okay, let Rohan be here. He walks for 3 kilometers towards north, then turns to his left and walks for 2 kilometers. His left, Rohan's left is this way and he walks for 2 kilometers. Now, he again turns left and walks for 3 kilometers. Again left is anti-clockwise. He walks for 3 kilometers. At this point, he turns to his left and walks for 3 kilometers. At this point, he turns to his left this way and walks for 3 kilometers. Correct? So, he is here now. Now, how many kilometers is he from the starting point? Starting point is here, ending point is here. We have to find out this distance. Look at this. Here, this value and this value are similar, and this is 2 kilometers. And the given total distance is 3 kilometers. So we have to subtract this value from this value in order to get this value. So the distance is 3 minus 2, which is equal to 1 kilometer. 1 kilometer is the distance from the starting point to the ending point. Now let us take if 1 kilometer is there in the option. Option A is 5 kilometers, B is 3, C is 2. 1 kilometers is option D. Option D is the right answer.